Hello, welcome back to another conference tournament discussion. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Summit League Conference Tournament. I'm going to start it off by talking about all the teams, telling you who I think has a chance to win, giving you a lot of extra information, and then going through the tournament, telling you exactly how I think it's going to go. Before I start, go back, watch my last video about the Atlantic Sun Tournament. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Some important information before we get into it. St. Thomas is ineligible for March Madness. That means if St. Thomas were to win the tournament, Omaha would get the automatic bid because they were the regular season champion. Teams like Omaha have a chance to make their first March Madness appearance. So to me, the Summit League is probably one of the biggest conferences if you're looking for offensive firepower. Each team averages at least 80 points per game, and all these teams have amazing shooting splits with great offensive efficiency to go with it. I basically selected 5 main teams that I think have a chance to win. That's the top 5 seeds, 1 being Omaha, 2 seed being St. Thomas, 3 seed being South Dakota State, 4 seed being North Dakota State, 5 seed being South Dakota. There is like a play-in game between Oral Roberts and Kansas City, the 9 and 8 seeds. That's happening the day of recording. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to pick who would win between them or Omaha. You can probably see how that will go. To start the quarterfinal, we have Omaha versus either the 8 or 9 seed. I don't think we need a lot of discussion over this one. Omaha has well proven themselves. They are the hottest team in the conference, 14-3 since December 21st, and they're 13-3 in conference play. I think that's well enough to say they can move on to the second round and beat the 8 or 9 seed. Next up, we have 2 seed St. Thomas versus 7 seed Denver. St. Thomas is one of these offensive teams that I was talking about earlier. They have been very efficient, scoring a lot. And one thing that stands out for me is their ball movement. They get a lot of assists per game, putting up 83.5 points per game, 31.6 rebounds per game, assist to turnover ratio of 1.64, and they've shot 38.8% from 3. The Tommies are second in the nation with a true shooting percentage of 62%. They're also second in effective field goal percentage with 58%. They're 15th in offensive efficiency. The Tommies have the highest scoring margin in the Summit League with about 5.3 points per game on average. For this one, it's very evident that St. Thomas has better ball movement. They don't turn the ball over a lot, and they can cause a lot of turnovers if needed. Give me St. Thomas in the semifinal. Next up, we have the 3 seed South Dakota State versus the 6 seed North Dakota. So I know most of y'all probably remember earlier this season when North Dakota almost came back against a really good Alabama team. That was all thanks to a guy named Trayson Eaglestaff. He's been pretty good throughout the season. He's averaging 18. South Dakota State's been putting up about 80 points per game, 40.1 rebounds per game. They have an assist to turnover ratio of 1.15, and they've been shooting 36% from 3. South Dakota State lives off the glass. They're first in defensive rebound percentage with 79.7%. They also mainly succeed and get most of their points in the paint. About half of their points all season have come from inside the paint. This South Dakota State team is very proven in the non-conference as well. They have wins against McNeese State. They lost in a very close game to Boise State by only 1 point, and they were able to stick with a very good Alabama team. I'll pick South Dakota State to win this and go to the semifinal. Our last quarterfinal matchup is number 4 North Dakota State versus number 5 South Dakota. To me, this is the most interesting first round matchup, as both of these teams I think have a chance to get to the championship. North Dakota State has been putting up 81 points per game, 34.5 rebounds per game, an assist to turnover ratio of 1.47, and they've shot at 39.6% from 3. North Dakota State is a 3-point shooting team. They shoot so many 3-pointers, and they make so many 3-pointers. They're first in the country in true shooting percentage with 62.2%. They're first in the country in 3-point rate as well with 54.1%. They're 6th in the country in offensive efficiency, and they're first on effective field goal percentage with 58.3%. Though North Dakota State does shoot a lot of threes, it's important to know that they have a slow pace on offense. They're 316th in the country in pace. This NDSU team has a couple of good non-conference wins. Teams like Santa Clara, Northern Colorado, and Butler In this matchup specifically, it's important to know that they foul on 19% of defensive plays, which is not a lot. Now, on the other hand, South Dakota has been putting up 85.5 points per game, 35.8 rebounds per game. They have an assist to turnover ratio of 1.24, and they've shot at 32.2% from three. South Dakota is first in the country in turnovers per possession at 12.4%. Their assist to turnover ratio doesn't show it, but they don't turn it over a lot. They just don't get that many assists. Now, what's most interesting in this matchup and what's going to be my deciding factor is the fact that 24.4% of South Dakota's points comes from free throws. I'm going to have to go with NDSU. I really think that they don't foul a lot, and they just really have to play good, solid defense, not foul, and it's not going to be too hard. NDSU is just such a good shooting team that I don't think South Dakota's going to get it done. Give me North Dakota State. So, yep. Kind of a boring first round, you could say. We got all the top 4 seeds in the semifinal. Now we could talk a little bit more about specifically what players have been showing out this season. We'll start with Omaha. Got a guy over there named Markel Sutton. The Tommies over in St. Thomas. They got 3 very good guys with a lot of offensive firepower. They've been shooting it very well from 3. They have great ball movement, like I said earlier. Guys like Miles Barnstable, Kendall Blue, and Drake Dobbs have all been shooting at least 35% from 3. A guy over at South Dakota State named Oscar Clough, I think he should win Conference Player of the Year. He's putting up like 17 and 12, and he's leading his team in every single stat. He's second in the country in rebounds, I think. Probably the most stacked team is North Dakota State. They got Jackson Money, who's been playing D2 for most of his college career, and Jakari White, a really good perimeter shooter. Jackson Money probably could go first or second round, which you don't see a lot out of teams out of like the Summit League. Our next matchup has number 1 Omaha versus number 4 North Dakota State. Now that we're here, we can talk a little bit more about Omaha's stats. Omaha put up about 77.4 points per game, 35.1 rebounds per game. They had an assist to turnover ratio of 1.22, and they shot at 36.7% from 3. Omaha is 66th in offensive efficiency, and they're 7th in the country in offensive rebound percentage, with 78%. Clearly, you can see Omaha is kind of lacking in efficiency compared to these other teams in the conference. At least these higher up teams like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, St. Thomas. They've still shown out all season. They've kept it close with a lot of teams. I really like Omaha, personally. My Minnesota Golden Gophers faced them earlier this season, and we only beat them by 4. So they're able to stick around early. That's usually a good sign when it comes to March. However, I'm a big fan of North Dakota State's offense. I love their very slow pace, and I like their ability to shoot 43s a game and make it effective. I think if they were to make March, that's a big time thing. Some days you'll just be really lucky and you'll make a ton of them. I'm going to start the semifinal off with a heater, and I'm going to go with North Dakota State to go to the championship. Now, to round off the semifinal, we have the St. Thomas Tommies at number 2 versus the South Dakota State Jackrabbits at number 3. St. Thomas is a pretty relatively new school out of Minnesota. I'm a big Minnesota fan, so I might have a little bias, you could say. I hadn't really watched many of their non-conference games. I started watching probably halfway through the season, and I could not put down the remote, if I'm being honest. The St. Thomas team is very flashy. They have some great passes. Most importantly, St. Thomas doesn't turn the ball over. They're 10th in turnovers per possession at 13.5%. They do have a good resume in the non-conference, beating North Colorado and Montana. Like I said earlier, South Dakota State is also very proven in the non-conference, keeping it close with some good teams and also beating McNeese State, who only has 5 losses on the season. South Dakota State's generally pretty efficient on offense as well. What stands out to me the most is their offensive and defensive rebounding, their ability to score in the paint with ease, and probably most importantly the fact that they've beaten Omaha, St. Thomas, North Dakota State, and South Dakota. However, I don't think that's enough in this matchup. I think St. Thomas is just so good. I'm going to go with St. Thomas to go to the championship. Now, we are on to the championship. Before I mention who I'm going to pick, I want to say thank you. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you watch my other videos and you like and subscribe. Now, on to my decision. Blonde Bozo. Who will you decide? The Summit League Conference Tournament winner will be St. Thomas Tommies. Yes, I'm going to take the 2 seed St. Thomas Tommies over the 4 seed North Dakota State Buffaloes. Dakota State is a very experienced team. I love their offense. I love their shooting. It's so good to watch. It's so crisp. I'd be disappointed if they didn't make March, because they won't if they don't win this conference tournament. But they're a really fun team. I would not be disappointed if they win the conference tournament. Now, St. Thomas, on the other hand, they're also a very fun team to watch on offense, but in different ways. Yes, they shoot three very well. Guys like Drake Dobbs, like I mentioned earlier, he's shooting almost 45% from three, which is unreal. But other guys like Miles Barnstable, Kendall Blue, they're just shifty guards who can move the ball very well, and they throw some crisp passes. You see it almost every game. They're throwing behind the back passes, dribbling through two guys, and then kicking it out to the corner. It's amazing. I just think St. Thomas is the best team, and it's crazy because they're so new to the Division I level, but I'm going to pick St. Thomas to win the championship. That means that Omaha, in my opinion, Omaha is going to get the bid because St. Thomas can't make March Madness. So my conference championship winner for the Summit League is the St. Thomas Tommies, and my bid to actually make March Madness is the 1 seed Omaha Mavericks. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I worked really hard on this video. I tried to give better stats than I did the last video. I'm just trying to work and improve. As always, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with my opinion? Do you disagree with my opinion? Do you think there's something in the video specifically that I can work on that's not going so well? I've said this 3 times already, but please like and subscribe. It means a lot. Even your view means a lot. So just check in anytime you want. Watch my videos, rewatch them. I think I can help you guys come March if you're trying to fill out your bracket. I know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I appreciate you guys so much. Much love. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.